You know, our whole world is built on data, and standing guard over all of it is this silent protector, artificial intelligence. It's our digital guardian. But here's the thing. What happens when that guardian has a blind spot?
I mean, just try to wrap your head around the scale of our digital world. We're talking billions of events, interactions, potential threats, every single second. There's no way a human team could keep up with that. It's just not possible. And that's exactly why our best defender isn't human. It's AI, working tirelessly at the speed of light, trying to keep us all safe.
And really, this AI is kind of like a superhero. It's analyzing millions of potential threats every single second, something no person could ever do. It can automate responses, shut down a problem before it gets out of hand. It can even predict where a system might have a weak spot, finding vulnerabilities before the bad guys do. Whether it's picking up on some tiny weird behavior or stopping a super sneaky phishing attack, AI is absolutely our frontline defense. But even the best guardians can fail. And when an AI screws up, well, it's often a classic story of good intentions gone wrong, leading to some very real and, sometimes dangerous consequences.
Okay, so let's walk through a quick scenario. Imagine a remote employee logging into work, just like they do every morning. But this time, bam, the AI guardian flags their login as suspicious.
And instantly, the AI does its job. Its programming says neutralize threats. So it blocks their access. Just like that, the gate is slammed shut.
So what's the problem? Well, it was a false alarm. You've got a totally legitimate employee locked out of their work, their whole day is thrown off, and now the security team is off chasing a ghost. We call this a false positive, and it just chips away at people's trust in the system.
But here's the scary part. While all of that was happening, while the AI was busy with that false alarm, a real attacker, using some brand new technique late at night, slipped right past the defenses, completely unnoticed. The AI didn't recognize the pattern, so it did nothing. This is a false negative, and it's exactly the kind of failure that leads to those massive, catastrophic breaches you read about.
So this gets to the core of it, right? Why is our powerful digital guardian making these huge mistakes? I mean, how can it be so wrong in two completely different ways at the exact same time?
Well, the diagnosis points to this hidden flaw, like a ghost in the machine that's messing with its judgment. And this problem has a name. It's actually one of the biggest challenges in tech today. AI bias.
So, what exactly is AI bias? At its core, it's a kind of systematic, unfair discrimination. But in simpler terms, it's what happens when an AI just learns the wrong lessons from the data we feed it. It starts to develop its own prejudices and blind spots, and what's worse, it often reflects and even magnifies our own human biases.
And this bias can creep in from a few different places. The biggest one is usually data bias. Think about it. If you train your AI mostly on data from people working 9 to 5 in an office, it's going to think a remote worker logging in at a different time is suspicious. It just makes sense. Then you have algorithmic bias, which is when the design of the algorithm itself is flawed, maybe weighing one thing, like login time, way too heavily. And finally, there's interaction bias. This creates a nasty feedback loop where, say, security analysts keep approving the AI's biased flags, which just teaches the AI that its prejudice is right.
And the consequences? Well, they're exactly what we just saw in our story. You get more false positives, blocking the good guys, and you get more false negatives, missing the actual bad guys. It leads to unfair discrimination. It wastes the security team's time and resources, and it just completely destroys user trust. And worst of all, it gives everyone this false and incredibly dangerous sense of security. Okay, so if that's the problem, what's the solution? I mean, we can't just throw out our digital guardian, right? We have to build a better one. And that all comes down to building it on a solid foundation of principles for trustworthy AI.
And this quote really hits the nail on the head. Building a fair AI system isn't just some nice-to-have ethical goal. It's about making it stronger. See, bias creates blind spots. And in the world of cybersecurity, every single blind spot is a vulnerability waiting to be exploited. So getting rid of bias isn't just the right thing to do, it's a flat-out security imperative.
Now, a huge part of this whole problem is something we call the black box. Basically, the AI screams, "threat," but it can't tell you why it thinks that. And for a security analyst, an alert with no context, that's just noise. It makes them skeptical, and it's pretty much impossible to figure out if the AI's decision was actually a good one.
The solution to this is what's known as explainable AI, or XAI. So instead of that vague, useless alert, the security analyst gets a crystal clear breakdown. Hey, The login was off hours, the IP address is new, and the device is unknown. All of a sudden, the AI's decision actually makes sense. The block box is cracked open, and that confusing alert becomes real, actionable intelligence.
But of course, once you can understand why an AI does something, that brings up the next big question: accountability. If an autonomous AI makes a big mistake, let's say it shuts down a critical server by accident, who's on the hook for that? The developer who wrote the code? The company that's using it? Figuring out those clear lines of responsibility is absolutely crucial if we're going to trust these systems and use them safely. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most critical reality here. For every single way we're using AI to build a better guardian, you can bet someone else is using it to build a smarter attacker. AI is a total double-edged sword, and it has kicked off a brand new kind of arms race. You can see the dynamic pretty clearly. For every defensive use of AI, there's an offensive one right there to match it. We build AI to detect advanced threats. They use AI to create malware that can evade it. We use it to predict vulnerabilities. They use it to find those vulnerabilities first. It is a constant back-and-forth battle of innovation, a true technological arms race.
Really, it all comes down to this one simple, stark number. There are two sides in this fight, and both of them are getting smarter, faster, and more capable every single day.
So, all of this leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? We can't stop AI from getting smarter. That train has left the station. The real challenge is making sure we steer that intelligence in the right direction. By building AI with fairness, transparency, and accountability baked right into its core, we aren't just making it better. We're doing everything we can to make sure that as our guardian evolves, it always, and I mean always, remains on our side.